Hello and welcome to the Badass in Business show. I'm excited to have you here today. I'm Annette Piper, the Badass Business Chick and host of the Badass in Business show. And I'm pulling double duty today. I'm doing podcast and video cast at the same time. So if you're hearing this as a podcast and you want to hop on over and watch the video, you can find it on badassinbusinesstv.com. And so go ahead and look and see what I've got there in the library. And welcome today. So tomorrow is tax day. It's D-Day. Time to have your taxes submitted or have an extension file. And I know a lot of business owners can kind of go into panic when it comes to taxes. And for good reason. It can be very stressful. Make sure you have all your deductions. And there seems to be always this looming thought that I hope I don't get audited. And so today I want to talk about creating your taxes or creating your environment to reduce your risk at being audited with the IRS, and also to protect yourself in that unfortunate situation if you are ever audited. And I've been audited, so I have a lot of experience with this, about almost 4 years worth of experience going through IRS audits. And so I feel I'm very qualified to speak to this topic. So, we think about, will I ever be audited? And I want to share a few statistics with you today. So according to MarketWatch, 1.9 to 2.3% of people, small businesses, will be audited if you are filing a Schedule C with the IRS, which many small businesses do. They're solopreneurs, or they register their business entity as an LLC, and then you file a Schedule C. If you're an S Corp, that reduces your risk of being audited. Now you might think, okay, 1.9 to 2.3% of all small businesses filing taxes are going to get audited. That's not a big deal. Well, it's not a big deal until you get that letter from the IRS in the mail saying you're being audited. Then it becomes a very big deal. So you want to make sure that you are creating your business environment, having the right paperwork to make sure that you are protected in an audit, and also to make sure that you're not audited in the first place, to make sure your taxes reflect good business practices, so that will reduce your chance of being audited. So when you are being audited by the IRS, they're not looking to see if it's going to benefit you. They're looking to see how it's going to benefit them. And so even though you've done things by the book, they're going to find every little thing that you didn't do right, and they're going to pick on that. So some ways that you can create your business structure so that you reduce your risk of being audited is to, number one, have a business plan or a profit plan. When I was going through my audit, I was complaining a lot. I was frustrated. I was overwhelmed. And so I talked to a lot of people about what I was going through. And it was almost in unison when I'd say the first thing they asked me for was my business plan. It was almost in unison. People would go, oh, I'd be screwed, right? And I realized that there's so many small business owners operating their business without a business, or what I call a profit plan. And that's one of the core things that I teach in my business, that I teach my clients, and I have programs that take you through the profit planning process, so that you are set up with that key foundational piece for your business, and that you update that every year to reflect how the market changes and what you are doing in business now. Because we all know market changes rapidly, marketing practices change rapidly. Now we've got the internet and social media, which changes how we're doing business. So you've got to be constantly updating your plan. Also, what sense does it make to have a profit plan if you write the plan and then you never look at it again. I know business owners who they're doing okay in business, but they wrote their business plan 10 years ago and they've never revisited it. They've never revised it. And so much of business has changed in the last 10 years. And so they're probably leaving money on the table by not having a valid business plan or current business plan that they're working with, or a profit plan. So you want to make sure that your profit plan has the vision for your business, has your revenue producing strategies, has who your target client is, has your revenue forecast, so that you're forecasting out your revenue every month, every quarter, and every year, so that you can prove that, hey, I'm in business, especially if you're filing a Schedule C or you're a solopreneur. Those are the businesses that the IRS targets to classify as you as a hobby instead of a business. That's what they tried to do with me. I had a lifestyle fitness coaching business that I closed down, and then I started my business coaching business. And even though one was a solopreneur, just a DBA, and the other one was an LLC, the IRS combined the losses of those two businesses. I was in a startup the first year on the one, and part of that was my tax preparer's mistake. And so that's another thing that you can do to protect your business. But let's go back to the profit plan. So with the profit plan, you also have to show not only your revenue forecast, you also need to show your marketing plan. You need to have sales tracking to prove that you are actually out there working your business. There's a lot of businesses, people that are raising racehorses or certain breeds of dogs, breeders that put their business into, which is really a hobby. What they're doing is more of a hobby, but they have a business structure, and so they write off all their fun things that they do with their hobby as a business, and the IRS watches for that. So they want to know that you are a valid business and that you're paying your taxes, or that you've taken a loss and you are justified in that loss. So you've got to have that marketing, your productivity plan. I was lucky I had all of that. I had already developed this process for both businesses, and I had that all, and that protected me from being classified as a hobby. It didn't at first, because the auditor had his mind made up before I went into the audit process that he was going to classify my business as a hobby. So everything that I did, all the paperwork I had to produce was just a dog and pony show, basically, because he'd already made up his mind. But it set me up for the appeals process, which the appeals process reversed his decision and said, of course you're a business. You look at what you've got in place, you're operating as a business. And I was able to reverse that decision, even though I still had to pay back some revenue with some holes that they found, or some taxes. But just what I'm saying is you've got to have that stuff in place, because if you're audited and you go in without any kind of business plan or tracking or proof that you are operating as a business, they're going to classify you as a hobby, and you will only get to write off the expenses in your business to the amount of money that you made. So if you're taking a loss in your business, you won't be able to take that loss. You'll have to just let a lot of that stuff go, which is heartbreaking, especially if you're a startup or you've had a rough year and you've taken a loss in your business. Another thing you need to know is interviewing the right people to do your bookkeeping and your taxes. But having a qualified CPA that can look at your taxes and really make sure that you're getting everything that you should get, or if you are taking too big of a loss, that they can sit down with you and say, you know what, this is probably going to flag an IRS audit, so let's look at how we can reduce the loss so that you aren't as likely to get audited in your business. Like I said, this is based on my experience, and you may have a different experience with your tax preparing company. But the point I want to make is to make sure that you interview and you've got the right people on your team that are qualified to help you through your taxes, and they're just not tax preparers, and they're just not bookkeepers, that they know tax law, and they have, it's part of their business model to counsel you on how to protect yourself and kind of proof your audit proof your taxes as best you can. It's critical to do that. You are the driver of the bus. You are the leader of your team. You need to know tax law. You need to educate yourself on the basics of running a business and business tax law. So make sure that you do that. Be the leader of your business, and also make sure you've got the right people on the team, and make sure that you've got that profit plan in place. If you are intimidated by a business plan or a profit plan, because it's a lot of work, I've got a system that is perfect to take you through. It's great for right-brainers that don't like numbers, and it's great for left-brainers that don't have as much imagination and visionary and holistic nurturing aspects to them. So I really have created a whole brain, whole mind system to help you get your profit plan in place and create that foundation in your business and help protect you should you ever be audited by the IRS, but it also gives you great peace of mind as well. So contact me. You can email me, info@AnnettePiper.com. Make sure it's spelled Piper, P-I-E, like the yummy dessert. Annette spelled just like Annette Funicello. So ANNETTEPIEPER, info@AnnettePiper.com. And if you want more information on my programs that would take you through that process, let me know, or you can visit my website at AnnettePiper.com and fill out the contact form, and I or one of my team members will get back with you. And stay tuned for our next Badass in Business Show podcast / videocast. This is Annette Piper signing off, saying, go out, be badass. Bye-bye.